Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of DUO-LOGUE. I'm Desi, and this is Chris. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, hi, and we're back again.
Today's topic, sudden health surprises. And by this, we mean our sudden recent experience with what turned out to be Chris having high blood pressure, which led us to cut a long story short, into hospital for 2 days. And now we are reflecting on what happened, what's going to be the future, and how it's all going to be resolved. So this is just in a nutshell. Now let's meet it up, Chris. Over to you.
Well, first of all, I want to say a huge thanks to the NHS, who, contrary to all the things I've heard, and actually my experience with my mother, were remarkably good. I can't say that the same would probably be voiced by the people who were in there at the same time, because there seemed to be a different set of experiences. But my experience with my age, my problem, the seriousness with which they saw it, I was dealt with very well. We were fed, we were watered, we kept up all night, but, uh,
We
but
were entertained even.
yeah, we were entertained by the other patients, remarkably so. A real Chaz and Dave show in there. But yeah, but seriously, the story was that and I've written down kind of. It's quite interesting to reflect on it, because it's like we can ignore our health and we can say, "I didn't see it coming," or we can say, "It was a real surprise, really." But actually, when I wrote down a list of things to talk about here, I did think that there was something wrong, and I was pushing the signs away, trying to say I'm bulletproof, I'm Superman, and these things don't apply to Chris Ogle, who's always been fit, healthy, sporty, cook well. It's like it does it. Yeah, these things, they're probably somebody else's problems, not mine. Let me just run through some of these things, and you might say, "Whoa, why didn't you see that?" Well, I felt tired in the afternoon. Okay, and that had kind of been creeping on me. And I thought, well, maybe it's just a change of me being at home in the winter, not on the allotment, and having baking my own bread and enjoying that at lunchtime, and maybe that carbohydrate boost sending me into an early sleep. I don't know, but anyway, I seem to want more sleep than before. Could be because I'm getting older. You run through these things in your mind. Migraine frequency. Now I've been getting migraines, not like one a month, one couple of months, maybe none for 3 months. Like very regular, and not anything that you could really lay your hat on. Now the next one, a fuddled mind. Now I seem to have less desire to do things. And my mind was a little bit hazy more often than I can remember. So that was sort of like a little bit of a warning. Then the next one was I couldn't think straight. There were times, and Desi, you remember this, when we would go somewhere and I'd go quiet, and you'd ask me something, and I was very short with my answers. Not short in a nasty way, but I didn't want to entertain conversation too much, because I'd get found out because I couldn't really put a couple. Well, I could put a sentence together, but it might not make a total load of sense. So it was I couldn't think straight. And then there was a situation where I had, and that was internal. So my mind was not able to crystallize ideas and stuff like this. And then trouble forming sentences. Now, I'd read about that as a red flag with strokes. So I thought, well, hang on a minute. I don't want to have a stroke and leave Desi with a you know almost like a bag, a heavy bag, without much use. So I need to, and I said to Desi, I think I need to go and get my blood pressure checked. And then we went to Hungary for 2 weeks. So I obviously didn't attach urgency to it particularly. And anyway, it went okay, went well, we had a good time. And then we came back. And then I thought, getting out of the bus at the airport, I had one of these migraines. And I thought, no, no, when I get back, I'm going to go to the doctors. So that's what I decided to do. And, but let me just share with you some of the other things. There was no pain, no headaches, not out of breath anywhere, no swelling, heart rate of 60 to 65, which is pretty low, but not extremely low. That's my usual heart rate. No loss of appetite, not thirsty, and I could pretty much do everything that I could do before. So, with that in mind, you can understand my reticence to rushing down the hospital or rushing down the doctors. Someone who's a little bit not keen on those establishments. uh,
And I'm sorry, but I also didn't encourage you to do that because I thought you were all okay.
yeah, and well, it didn't appear that anything was wrong, did it?
Yeah,
You could,
these things that you're sharing now, some of them I didn't notice that were happening to you.
yeah. Some things that I write on a like a tablet. It's not a tablet. It's a remarkable, like a paper, electronic paper, every day, every day. And I noticed that my handwriting was a little bit more erratic. Not rubbish, just not as well formed as it used to be. Something that I took pride in, and consequently was a little bit pissed off, to be honest. It was getting a bit worse. And other things I noticed was that on typing, I had trouble. I had trouble with my keyboard. Now, it's not that I've always had trouble with this keyboard because this keyboard doesn't seem to. It's a little bit harder to press some keys than others, and it's always been a bit difficult. And consequently, but what that means is that I don't press the key when I think I have, or I press two keys and I get the wrong one. And so consequently, and also I've been misspelling things. So bearing all this in mind, um, we went down to the doctors, and I went to see the nurse. I made an appointment, and luckily there was a cancellation, so I got that day at 4 p.m. And I went down there, and the nurse said, "Oh, you're here to have a blood test, everything, and I seemed fine, everything seemed fine. And it all was going very, very well until 235, 150.
Well, it was going all very well until the machine was starting to give errors.
Mm.
The
And
blood
the
pressure
hours,
machine was starting to give errors, and she tried twice, and she was puzzled by why this machine was doing that. And then at one point, I think she clicked that it might be that the machine's range is not wide enough. So she took out the manual machine because that was the automatic one. She took out the manual machine and the stethoscope and started measuring him like the old style. And then she was Uh-oh, this is a bit too high. I'm gonna refer you to the doctor immediately.
So we went out of there and into the doctor's surgery, and the doctor was saying the same thing, the same results. So she said, basically, I want you to go down to the hospital straight away. Don't pass go. Don't collect £200. Just go straight down the hospital. And who's driving? And I said, I am. And he said, well, we don't want you driving, really. And I said, well, we've got two choices, me or me, really. So I drove down there. It wasn't a problem, fortunately, and into the hospital. So yeah, that's kind of the background to it all. And on reflection, I know from like my 30s that I've had a tendency to have high blood pressure, and uh, and also talking about this the other day, like getting overweight, it's not instant, is it? You don't sort of like eat two or three donuts and you're suddenly 3 stone heavier. Now, some people they may feel that it's like that, but it isn't like that. It basically your body gradually adjusts to the consumption of whatever you're consuming and begins to make changes to reflect that. And so it's taken a long time. It's taken from my 30s up until my 60s to get to the point where this is becoming an issue. And and you know, I what the tendency is for humans is we want a quick fix. We want some. It's like, well, actually, thinking about it, I was in the hospital for 2 days, and my blood pressure came down to 130 over 80. Well, that's a quick fix, isn't it? That's a very quick fix, provided you continue with the medication. And in our introduction, if you did watch that episode, you will know that my affinity with drugs is very, very low, and I'm really not keen on any kind of drugs. I don't want to have to take anything that I rely on another group of people or somebody to basically cater for my needs. So drugs are totally out of the question for me. It's not something that, I mean, okay, you can say food and everything. I mean, it's all down to other people. Okay, yeah, but you have choices and it's not imperative. You can miss it out if you don't want it. But this is different. It's like you have to take it because otherwise things get out of control. It's regimented. It's definitely got to happen. And, and just out of just because I'm like that, I decided yesterday to pretend I'd forgotten to take my pill, my morning pill.
Oh yeah, because you take them twice a day. So you
I
take one in the morning and you
did,
take two other ones in the evening.
yeah.
And so you decided to do an experiment and see if you can just do with the ones in the evening and
And
not
what
take the morning one.
what would be the impact? And the impact was that I went from 130 over 77 in the night, the day before. Let's call it the day before. Missing out the one in the morning, taking the blood pressure in the evening, I was 175 over 95. So you can see that there is a significant difference if I take out that 1 5 milligram ramipril in the morning. And today, coincidentally, I did it again, and
What
it's
did you do?
I took the blood pressure this morning. Yesterday I took it 175 over in the morning. Today I
Yeah.
took the blood pressure again, and it was 140 over 87. Okay, it's still on the high side. That is high. Is it's hypertension, but it's better than 175 over 95. And that was one pill making that difference. And coincidentally, I've gone out for a bike ride just to go and get my pills uh, from the chemist. Uh, and I rode a bike down there. And when I got back, I took my blood pressure because I'm a pretty active person. And I think my blood pressure is definitely in relation to my activity level. And it was 120 over, 120 over 63. So you can see that um, doing activity on my body, it's not everybody. Some people probably have a heart condition or something, but on my body, it says, yeah, I like that. Give me some more of this exercise business. And so consequently, I'm adjusting my thinking and saying, well, it's nothing new for me. I do exercise all the time, but it means that I've got to build that in frequently. And actually, instead of just saying, yeah, it's good for your health, say, actually, it is good for you. Now, plot thickens. It's, so now it's like, okay, well, now we're forming a picture of how my body works with with a measured version of high blood pressure and these pills. And it's like saying, okay, well, we need to map out something that works for me, and which I can build in the exercises and everything else. Maybe the natural medications that we can find out there in the world, as opposed to have to go to a pharmacy in a town in a country, and build those things into the program. But um, it's very, very interesting for me to see how this is starting to work out. And I think that what I'm going to do, and what we can do, is we can basically, it's an investigative program, isn't it? It's like we're getting into the detail of how this body reacts. Like, for example, I know that if I drink a lot, that it
Of
probably,
alcohol. Of
yeah,
alcohol.
yeah, alcohol raises my blood pressure. Now, I haven't yet tested like one beer and then what happens 2 hours later. But obviously, I'll do that because I quite like beer and I don't want to give that up. But, but, oh, oh man, I don't know. But
Mm.
not only men drink beer. It's available for women too, and other.
Genders.
So,
I think we'll delete that.
no, 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 you don't need to edit it. It's absolutely no. It's a conversation, isn't it? It's like people have got to have opinions. It's like if you delete these things out, then what? It's like that's another
Okay,
conversation.
I'm not going to delete it. That's okay. Carry on.
So, so now we get into what we're going to do next. Well, actually, I'm going to uh, start to investigate what it is that's in ramipril. For example, the body reacts. I know it's got beta blockers and whatever in there, but it's like, what's it doing? What is it doing?
What's it doing? It's only patching up a. It's just masking the symptom. Well, it's changing the symptom. It's not healing.
No, I know that. I know that.
Okay,
But,
okay, okay. As
but
long as you are not like kidding yourself or something, that
no,
this
I
is
know
going to
that.
be good for
But
you in the long run. No, it
what,
won't.
but what's happening is that my body is getting high blood pressure if it doesn't get it. So what is it that I need to give my body, I need to supplement or support my body in having that enables it to not be under those conditions, because that's what's going wrong, isn't it? It's like, like it works, but it's falling down somewhere, and I want to know how I can support my body in having, normal blood pressure normally. Like, what do I need to do? Is it
Right.
I need
So,
I
so it seems like we're gonna have a second episode related to this topic to see how what you've learned and how you've adapted and what's happened
Yeah, later on for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
later on.
But the, the the thing is that this is not, it's not been like, it's not the end of the world, right? Fortunately, because we got there quick enough, right? But it is certainly changed how we are programming our next, the years coming, because what this has done is it's basically, I went to go and get my tablets today, and I realised that it's free for over 60s. Now that's good news, right? But then I'm in that bucket now. I'm in the over 60s group. I'm in the geriatric class. And it's like, what? I don't, I don't consider myself anywhere near a geriatric. I thought they were dotards that could, that couldn't even get
Yeah,
out.
you need to change your attitude.
Yeah, that couldn't get out of a chair, right? And now here I am in the same group.
By
And so,
age only.
huh?
By age only.
By a number, yeah. I don't,
Yeah.
that's the difference. Yeah, yeah, sure. But I mean, just as just to sort of supplement this episode, if you feel like you've got something that's changing, and it could be insidious. It doesn't really have to be anything that's in your face, like you've fallen over big time, or you've collapsed, or you've fainted. This could be, which could be nothing, but just low blood pressure could be. But you probably, if you could deduce that this is happening often, and it's you need to probably go and get it checked out, because um, you know nothing much else is wrong. I've got a little bit of a elevated cholesterol count, although they're grouping it with cholesterol, those triglycerides, HDLs, and LDLs, and they're basically lumping it into one number and giving me a number and saying it's high, which is it's meaningless basically. But what's important about that HDL level is it hasn't changed for 5 years. Now, if
Mm.
my liver wasn't coping with the cholesterol levels that my body requires, it would be going up or going down, but it's staying the same, which means probably it's managing my levels consistently and correctly for what I need. And I think that's very often, like, you go to doctors and they say, oh, you've got a cholesterol level of 8. Yeah, okay, well, what was it last time? That's what I need to know, is what was it last time, not what's this spot number in the middle of nowhere compared to everybody else's, because it doesn't matter what everybody else's is. It's what I was last time. And if it was 8 last time, then if it's been 8 for 10 years, then and I actually popped that into DeepSeek, asked him what the level was, and it's a bit high, and I said, yeah, but what about if the level hasn't changed and it was that last time and it's now this and it hasn't fluctuated? Oh, you make an important point.
Oh, you started using DeepSeek to
Yeah,
ask medical questions.
yeah,
So what were you asking? You were asking what does this medicine do, or what were you asking?
I was just asking.
what do I do now? What were you asking?
I was asking DeepSeek to comment on my doctor's te-
Test
uh,
results, is it? Test results.
result for cholesterol, and it was quite funny because in my medical record now, because I've got a medical record, I haven't had one for forever. I'm on the map. Um, on my medical record, she said the doctor said refused statin offer. She didn't actually say she'd offered me statin. She said your cholesterol's a little high. I need to give you something for that. I said no, I'm not having anything. She went okay.
But
Yeah,
we need cholesterol. Cholesterol is there to
of
patch
course.
up places where it needs to, where maybe arteries are leaking or the brain needs it. Because the brain is mainly
Cholesterol coats
cholesterol.
every cell in our body, and it basically stops you from feeling pain at the end of your pain. I don't know what the pain goes down. It basically it's there to stop you feeling pain. Cut cholesterol out, you start feeling pain where you never had it before. It's like
Mm. It's needed by the body to encapsulate things maybe as well. And like if you have heavy metals, it will, or things that are foreign, the body doesn't know how to digest, it will cover them in cholesterol. And it's like the insulation.
yeah. I mean, I learned quite a lot about this, and
And if the body produces it, then it needs to be produced. It's not a mistake. I don't believe the body makes a mistake.
I still never go. I never go. Oh, let's make extra. Let's make some extra cholesterol and give them heart problem. Does it say that?
It might be producing it because it's needed somewhere else for some reason, because there is some programming going on that needs to be addressed, maybe. And this is where our work together will be to discover what the belief system is that's creating the high blood pressure. Because why would it be high blood pressure if there is no reason? There must be a reason. We just need to discover it. And also what I learned in a quick period while we were in the hospital in A&E, and I had to engage my brain into not falling asleep on a chair. I watched Barbara O'Neill's lecture about high blood pressure, and it was to do with salt. And she describes the difference between normal table salt and um, what was the other one? Sea salt, the Irish sea salt. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, that's the one that doesn't only have sodium in it, but it's got all sorts of 80, 90 different minerals. And then also vitamin D, very important, and the one herb that is super super good for the heart. It strengthens the heart, lowers blood pressure if it's high, raises it if it's low. So in my case, I have a very low blood pressure. In between the two of us, we have an average.
Very good.
But there is this one herb. It's not even a herb, it's a berry. It's a hawthorn berry. Hawthorn berry, which grows in every hedgerow in the UK and in Bulgaria as well. I've seen it in many places. This berry will probably be the one that, taken over a longer extended period of time, Chris, will be the crux of solving the problem with your condition. So hawthorn berry, vitamin D apparently is very important, and also zinc.
All right. Well, probably that's enough about my woes for this episode. But I hope you found it interesting because it's I suppose at the end of the day, these things happen to us all at one point. So that's our take on it. That's my view. That's what I did, and that's what I got. And yeah,
Yeah, so to finish off, it was a condition that developed over time, and a quick fix is not a quick fix. it will be all fixed, but it will take time because it's didn't like Rome wasn't discovered in a day. Is that the word? Is that the saying?
Rome didn't
Rome,
collapse.
Rome wasn't built. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's how it was. So yeah, keep an eye on the update on this one, on this topic, because we're gonna do a next one when we have some more insights and some more
Yep.
knowledge and
Join us Friday for
yeah, another one.
our next conversation, which will be riveting as well.
don't don't forget. Oh, remember, subscribe.
No,
Give us
yes,
your comments. Give us your thoughts.
yeah, yeah.
Have you
Uh,
had this experience? Have you had high blood pressure? What did you do? How did you solve it? And any suggestions for Chris and I, what we could do to help him to go back to normal. And um, that's
some
it
would
for
say,
now.
I've never been normal. Right.
Bye bye.
I don't know.